have fun. It doesn't have to be picture perfect. It doesn't have to be anything.
It doesn't always have to be Instagram worthy.
It doesn't
right?
always have to be Instagram worthy. Yeah, not at all.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Our Liberty House. This is Lucas, and today we are introducing a new series we're doing, a local garden tour series where we're going to take you guys to some of our friends and show you what they're growing in their property. Just really give you an idea of what everybody else in this area is growing. You've all seen our garden, so we want to introduce you to some others. We're kicking off the series with episode 1, our friend Laura at the Homestead Witch. We're going to jump into her garden. She does a lot of culinary herbs, medicinal herbs, and then also has a large edible vegetable garden. So let's get going. Hi Laura, thanks for having us. We're here now in your guys' front garden, and why don't you just kind of talk about what you're doing up here with your front yard.
Awesome. Okay, so this was the lawn when we moved in, and this part of the mulch was here. So we didn't want to redo this, but we tore out this lawn. We had torn out a lawn in our rental before this. It hadn't been there very long, so it came out in an afternoon, and it was super easy. This lawn had been here 50 years.
Yeah, it's rooted.
And there was a tree in the middle of it. So it was really rooted in a massive project. So my whole goal for this space was a medicinal herb garden that also has pollinators and has things flowering and growing year round, which I feel like I'm almost there.
Yeah, you use a lot of this for some like dried herbs and medicinal, and even like a small business on Etsy.
I do. I never intended to have the small business on Etsy, but I grow so many herbs I don't know what to do with them all. So now I've been listing them on Etsy. With these perennial herbs, you have to prune them a lot to keep them healthy. So then you end up with a massive overload. Yeah.
So it was a business of opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you just kind of highlight a few of the things that you like growing up here, and then we can move on.
Perfect. So this is chamomile. I love my chamomile tea. So this is a perennial. It's about at the end of its season, and it's gonna go. But I leave this whole bed for chamomile, and then I shove things in as it works. This is actually a marshmallow plant, which is, I believe, a geranium family.
Probably looking up the field of flower.
Yeah. So those roots are super good for when you have a sore throat. So I'll be harvesting those roots soon. I really wanted privacy. This is our bedroom, so I pulled some berries that were growing in the middle of our back lawn, and I put them here. They're going bonkers.
Yeah, they seem like they like it.
They like it a lot, yes. It's a raspberry and a blackberry are fighting it out. Oh, that's our watering system. So all this is watered by irrigation that we put in ourselves, because I would spend my whole life watering if we didn't have that.
It is nice. Maybe Beth will get a shot of this. They have the shut off on each bed, which is something we need to add.
Yeah, so if I'm not growing anything in a particular bed, I can just shut it off. I am super guilty of forgetting to turn it back on, and then planting starts and they all die, and I wonder why. So as we get more into the middle here, these are more of our culinary herbs. That's probably my husband's favorite part. He's super into cooking. He can run out here and get whatever he needs at any point. So we have sage and oregano and thyme and marjoram and rosemary.
Yeah, you got the full gamut of kitchen herbs.
Yeah, and we love these. Most of these are ready to go year round, and we can just grab them. This is echinacea. It's actually a 2-year plant, so I get to harvest that for the first time this year, which I'm excited about. When these flowers die off, I'll pull the herbs. And then over here we just have some more polliners, some hyssop.
Do you use the echinacea for the root or for the root? For the root.
And the leaves are also medicinal, so I've been drying them. I haven't used them yet.
We have the same variety, and our dog always eats the leaves, so I'm wondering if...
Oh, that's probably super good for his management.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our dog has a heart murmur, and he always eats the calendula flowers, and they're supposed to be really good for your heart muscle. So we let him.
Animals know.
Yeah, they know. This is a comfrey plant. And then as we move up here, we have some more lavender, lemongrass. This is wild bergamot. It's flowering right now, and the hummingbirds really love it. I really like making tea and putting it in my baths. This was a total experimental plant that I just threw here, and I've been super happy with it.
Just tea out of the leaves then?
Yeah, I just dry the leaves and throw them in boiling water.
All right, let's go check out the backyard where most of their vegetable garden is and some other fun things. Okay, so what do we have here, Laura?
This is our potting bench / outdoor kitchen area / herb drying rack. We recently had our floorboards replaced in our horse trailer, and I kind of planned my projects around when wood is becoming available, so I kept all the stuff that wasn't rotted. We bought this countertop, which I'm really happy with that decision because we actually use this as a food prep area too. Super cleanable. This sink just hooks into our hose in the back. We hook it up. I can wash veggies that I've harvested, water stuff from this hose right here. It's all set up. And then here we have our herb drying racks. All the herbs that you saw in the front yard get dried right here on these racks. So we try to not use electricity whenever possible.
You know, in Sacramento heat, you're probably
it's super dry here. It's super easy. They just sit here for a couple weeks.
Yeah, this is a great little bench. It's like on their patio by their kitchen. It's multifunctional. I think it's great.
Yeah, these used to just all be all over the ground, so now they have a place to live.
Yeah, no, I like it. All right, let's move on. We've got, looks like some squash plants here, just kind of.
Yeah, these are kind of my experimental spaces. In the winter, I have nasturtiums that grow up here.
Oh, awesome.
It's a challenge to find something that the dogs and the chickens won't eat, so I'm trying squashes. They're not super happy with all the shade, so we're going to see if we get anything.
Yeah, it's always fun to have an experimental bed space.
Yeah, I think that this winter I'll add another layer just for some more root space.
Growth. Yeah. I got a giant orange tree back here. Probably came with the house. Yeah, we fertilize it twice a year and get a ton of oranges, and we love it. We use the peels, we use the fruits, we send boxes to family members. Yeah. We probably have enough fruit for like 4 small families here. Time for the garden. Got, fenced in garden, just nice separated the space. Did you guys build this?
This was actually the first thing we built, and I'm so happy we did. Our little dog is a vegetable eating monster, and we used to just spend, we weren't able to relax in our backyard of our old place because we were either constantly yelling at him or having to tie him up. Now we just have separated space and we can enjoy our garden. It's great.
It looks like it's a good sturdy fence. It's just rolled wire, clipped onto some 2x4s, but totally functional.
Super easy. We wanted to go cheap. We have horses, and we're like, we just need to hold in the dog. We don't need to hold in a horse.
Yeah,
so this is it's perfect. We actually didn't even cement the posts. We just put them in and they hardened up fine.
Yeah, and we haven't done any cement on our posts or fence either, and they work fine. So I think it's just extra steps. First section here, you got like some strawberries in pots. Some kale that somehow still hasn't bolted in July here in Sacramento, which is impressive.
So yeah, I try to save seeds from our plants that do really well, so I'm waiting for this guy to bolt so I can get some seeds off. I would love a kale I could grow year round because it's super good for our chickens that are right here.
Cool. Some more herb space and flowers, looks like some chives. And then the girls, we've got 3 chickens here.
Yes.
About how many eggs a week do you think you're getting in the summertime? So people who don't have chickens.
Oh gosh, they're actually they just turned 2, and they're in their prime. We're probably getting 2 eggs every other day in this hot weather right now.
Yeah, so enough.
Yeah, it's plenty for us. We do good. We can have 6 here in Citrus Heights. If you live in Citrus Heights, you can have 6 chickens. So we will eventually add 3 more.
All right, compost pile. Everybody loves compost. How often are you guys turning this?
We are probably about once a month we are turning it. I use a lot of horse manure in my compost. A lot of people will tell you don't garden with horse manure because it has weeds in it. If your compost gets hot, it's going to kill those weeds. You're going to be fine. So I bring about 2 truckloads of that in every year, and then all of our garden waste and all of our kitchen waste. We're probably turning this sucker about once a month. I just throw my thermometer down in there. If it's active, we leave it alone.
Yeah.
If it's dried out, we cone it up and get it going. I've been adding so much to it lately with all my pruning that it's been keeping us a little busy.
How often do you think you're getting usable compost out of it?
I do twice a year. I start trying to get you guys have that nice too.
Yeah, but we also don't have this much.
But yeah, I have too much. I can't do that. So I think I am going to get some garbage pails that I can kind of line up somewhere on the property and throw the used stuff in. But twice a year, I think I get about 20 wheelbarrow loads.
Yeah.
out of this, and I'm amending constantly. I think because I use so much organic compost in my soil levels go down constantly.
They're breaking down
to replenish. Yeah.
It's healthy though.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to, this is like the main section of their growing space. And we have, what, you say 6 raised beds? And then some like truly raised beds, and then some kind of in-ground raised beds. So why don't you just give us a little overview of what you guys are growing?
Sure, absolutely. So this is our tomato wall. When I was designing the space, I originally thought I was going to do all raised beds like this. These are really, really wonderful for working in, super comfortable, super easy to maintain. But then I realized that, one, I wanted the space to look pleasing to the eye, and I didn't want to be growing 6-foot tomatoes in beds that were already 3 feet off the ground. So I designed the space to have the low beds where I plant anything that grows tall, and then the high beds where we have more of our normal sized plants.
And they even have some mixed in flowers here, which you guys see us do a lot. You know, it's good to look at, and you know, attract obviously pollinators to squash plants, which are notoriously underpollinated.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, here we have our squashes and our peppers, and on the other side you'll see our melons, and then this is our giant wall of tomatoes all the way down the front. We are growing, I think, maybe 10 different varieties of tomatoes this year, and I did not get to plant all the seeds that I wanted to.
Of course. Do you guys do anything, like, do you preserve the tomatoes anyway, or do you think you could probably eat through most of them and share it? Or
No, we do. We freeze some, we do some canned, we do some salsas.
Yeah.
We do a little bit of everything. When we get overwhelmed, we throw them all in the freezer, and then at the end of the year, we decide what we want to do with them.
Yeah, that's the same. That's the easiest thing to do with indeterminate tomatoes. If you don't know what to do with them, freeze them and figure it out at the end of the year. Definitely.
So yeah, these guys are the pineapple bicolors. These are probably my favorite large tomato of this year. They get about this big. They've got great texture, delicious sweet flavor. I love making grilled cheese tomato sandwiches with them. So yeah, I think that I've eaten them all, but I don't have one to show
We'll
you.
drop a picture.
And then we love the little tomatoes. We grow all kinds of different varieties for those. We do lots of panzanella salads and bruschettas, anything that we can just chop and eat really quick. These don't get preserved nearly as much as our big guys.
You just get popped.
Yeah. These guys are going to be some crooked neck squashes, and then I believe I threw in maybe a spaghetti squash. I'm bad at labeling. I just wait until it shows me what it is.
Yeah.
And then again, this is celery that I'm saving the seeds from. Medicinally, celery seed is like it's almost like Advil, but it's safe to use long term. So I have to pick all these individual seeds, which is a huge process. But these front beds have some soil that I got from a large distributor in yards, because we were not originally planning on building all of this in a year, but we were donated. We got an old barn that had been thrown down, and we got all the wood, so we built it all, and we needed soil to put in it. I got just a planter's mix from a large company, and this soil is not retaining water. It's year 2. Year 1 it grew great. Year 2 it is lifeless. It's not retaining water. It's almost like sand, and so I'm having to do massive amending efforts, watering way extra, mulching like crazy. I would not repeat that decision, but I am confident that we will get it back eventually.
Yeah, I mean, that's just for everybody. You know, you have to check a lot of the soil that you buy from those large distributors. Not that it's all bad, but you know, this is where adding like organic matter constantly, you know, and then even doing a soil test kit, which we kind of chatted about earlier. And we have that video on our YouTube that you can see like how to use like the most basic Ace Hardware soil test kit. So
absolutely, yeah.
What do we have in this one?
So this is 2 giant pumpkins. We had some loofah back here that didn't make it, I think because of our less than ideal soil. So all of this is kind of making a comeback. The mulch helped a lot when I added that.
Yeah.
So,
let's see, it's pretty good little pumpkin.
Yeah,
right
I
here.
just got my first little guy pollinated yesterday, so we'll be excited.
Do you hand pollinate?
I am hand pollinating right now because this thing is spread out all over the place. Normally on a good year when I would have my beds just full of squash, by this point I wouldn't be needing to hand pollinate. Yeah. And then behind Lucas right here we have turmeric growing. It's just starting to pop. this will grow like it almost looks like an elephant ear, whatever those plants are. And it'll grow all the way up the fence and be massive. And then I get like fist-sized things of turmeric in the fall.
Did you sprout these inside or do they sprout outside?
I didn't, and you probably should. I'm kind of a rule breaker, and I didn't have time.
Yeah.
We only asked. We've tried to grow turmeric like 3 times, and each time it's rotted.
Oh, and were you trying inside?
Yes. Well, I tried both, but I think I overwater.
So I took last year's harvest. I threw it all in to dry, and then I took a couple little knobbles off of that and threw it. So I grew it in that bed last year. Now I'm growing it in this bed. So I just threw it in there and covered it up, and it's coming back.
Cool. That'll be like medicinal, edible.
Yeah, we love turmeric and everything.
Teas.
Yeah. Our horse is injured. She's getting turmeric, so we use it like crazy.
Yeah. Pepper bed looking really good for July. I mean, that's a lot of peppers.
Yeah, I started my peppers in January in the greenhouse this year.
Yeah.
It was kind of a risk, but they seem really happy. So I'm a risky seed starter, and if it doesn't work out, I just go by stars.
Yeah, that's fun to experiment.
Yeah,
when do you think you got them in the garden, like in the garden, out of the greenhouse?
First week of April, I think?
April. So that's same time we planted ours.
Yeah, these are serranos.
Really good. But you said this soil
This is my soil. So what I do for my quote-unquote soil, it's just sifted compost.
Yeah.
And I just throw it in. And you can see in here that the bed level is way low. And this was topped off in March.
Oh,
and
really?
so that's how much decomp is still happening.
Yeah.
But it makes really happy plants. And that's why everything is really happy. And I just keep topping off every 6 months. And it's a lot of work, but it works really well.
These are fun. What did we call these?
Carrot bombs.
Carrot bomb peppers. I could see how they could easily be mistaken as a tomato and somebody get a real shock.
Yes.
You can see the leaf cutters like this. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of those. And I don't even know if I know what a leaf cutter looks like.
I think they look like a little bee, but they supposedly don't harm your plants at all.
They like these and they like the tomatillos.
Yeah. And it's always fun to see the pathway.
Yeah.
You guys said you're probably gonna can or pickle some peppers.
We pickle all kinds of peppers. Yep, we do. We have habaneros growing in here, which my husband really loves spicy food, so I make sure he gets lots of spicy peppers to play with, and he makes hot sauce. One thing, if you're blending your hot sauce, do that outside. The first year we did that inside, I was swollen and crying for it. Yeah.
I just did that.
Oh, you're gonna whack plants. It's fine. I spread a little bit all over them.
Another pepper bed looks like some Thai chilies, maybe.
Yep.
Lots of red ones. We got some cayenne.
These are jalapenos out front.
I think this is probably.
Those are Arianos.
Zook.
No, that was labeled on the other side and it washed out. We have pepperoncinis on the other side. And I just always mix my basil in. This is a giant basil plant. Basil's a really good companion plant, so I throw it randomly in everywhere. Yep.
I'm actually very impressed with you guys' peppers because even with the shade, like you'd think they wouldn't like it, and they seem to love it. So
in about 2 hours, this is
all
sun flares down in here. Yeah.
So they'll still get hot because they'll get that stress heat and then nice and spicy.
Yep, definitely cage your peppers too. You can see they grow very tall. The wind just honks through here.
Yeah.
And it's really sad when you have a 4-foot pepper plant that blows over and breaks off. So yeah, these are like the smallest, cheapest cages you can buy, and they work great.
Which I think are great for peppers, the small ones too, because they're cheap and they're functional.
So we have
more tomatoes.
More tomatoes, yes.
Those are fun little, what do you call them?
They're called sweetheart cherries.
They're tiny. But that's kind of fun too.
Super fun for snacking while you're out here working.
Couple tomatillos and a cucamelon, right?
Yes, so those are like the tiny bite-sized cucumbers. I haven't gotten to taste one yet, but I think we have a couple that are going to be ready soon.
Cool. Moving on to some new summer squash.
These are zucchinis. So this entire bed was garlic up until last week, and I just tore it all out. That was a huge mistake. I thought that I turned the water off to this bed. Don't even have a connector to turn the water off, so obviously I hadn't. So I thought our garlic was just curing and it was getting watered. So we have a ton of overripe garlic that it tastes fine. We just need to eat it very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys are a little late because I didn't have the space. We'll see how they do getting started in June.
I have some like September squash.
Yes.
More basil.
Yep.
Good.
And
Nice
then
thick. Some melons.
Yep, melons, and then volunteer calendulas that we're just letting do their thing.
Yeah. Oh, I'll move that basil around and I can smell it.
Okay, this is our greenhouse. It's the cheapest, crappiest one from Harbor Freight. We love it. It works great.
It doesn't feel cheap, though. I mean, really, like it.
This door is something else. Anyway, put it in a protected area and love your greenhouse. That's what I would tell you.
Yeah, it's functional. It works. You obviously started a bunch of stuff. So.
Oh, and these are potato barrels. We don't have any potatoes growing in them right now, but I got these from an older gal who was having to move into a retirement home, and she'd been growing tomatoes in them for the last 20 years and was very happy for them to go
she
to
used
another
them as a garden
gardener. Yeah.
substitute.
Yeah, so
Nice.
they were already chopped. They already had holes in them. I put I think I had 5 of them at the time, and I put 3 on the roof of my Subaru and 2 in the car.
Nice. When you do the potatoes in here, are you like covering them?
Yeah, I'm hilling them up. This is actually asparagus, so I actually would like to cut this one a little bit smaller. But these ones, so I start it super low and I hill. I use our chicken coop has enough bedding to poop ratio that it's not super hot when it comes out of the coop, so I just throw that in there when I clean the coop. It up.
Probably get some pretty hefty potato harvests with just 3 of them.
Yeah, I've been very happy with these. I do struggle a little bit with like when to harvest the potatoes because I grew up in Alaska where there was a very clear die-off point.
Yeah.
And here I feel like they flower and then they'll just start growing again if you don't get in there and do it.
Yeah,
so
I think you have to out here. You just have to like make the decision to harvest them, you know, instead of like wait, because then they'll get blight too. A lot of times if you wait too long, and then they're mushy.
Yeah. So I've had some really sad tomato harvests because I did exactly that. Yeah. Our last one was great. I'm like, okay, I just need to do it. So this is where I start all my seeds. And do all my kind of garden storage. The stuff is right here. This is just a shelf that I had. If you're starting seeds in the Sacramento area in the winter, you do need added lights, but I just run an extension cord from my house and it goes under the ground, and right here, all these are just shop lights. You don't need anything special. Fluorescent shop lights and trays. All my seed starting happens here. And then I'm also growing some CBD for topical salves for arthritis and that kind of stuff. This is a total experiment. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's been fun and entertaining. I'm growing it in straight compost. They seem to really like that. They're really heavy feeders. Quinn, we really need to do something with these. Yes.
Try them.
Oh yeah, we did hot pepper flakes with the Thai peppers.
All right, thanks for having us. Is there anything else you want to share? Let us know like where to find you on any of your social media.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for coming out. This was great. I am the Homestead Witch on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Etsy. My website, my blog, where I talk a little about herbalism and give gardening tips. And we also have a meal plan that is 365 days with different rotating meals based on what's in season in the garden. That's all at witchyhomestead.com. And also guys, if you guys want to garden and do this, you can see you can do a ton in a very small space. It's totally okay to kill plants. It's totally okay to just throw our first ever garden beds we made out of someone's fence that they had torn down and thrown in a pile. So use what you have fun. It doesn't have to be picture perfect. It doesn't have to be anything.
It doesn't always have to be Instagram worthy.
It doesn't always have to be Instagram worthy. Yeah, not at all. We never would have been able to build all this if we weren't gifted that barn. So use what you have and enjoy it.
It's great space. Like it's true. It's real. You know, it's not like that's why we like to come here and check it out. So thanks. We'll put all of Laura's information down in the description. So if you guys didn't catch that, check it out there, and we'll see you next week.